Hi, Mom.
Hi.
It's April 25th, the year 2000. And I got this fancy little camcorder for my birthday from Sandy. And one of the main things I wanted to do was just have you tell me about your life, in that I forget so much.
Oh, I do too, though. Every once in a while I'm laying in bed and I'm thinking something, oh, I don't think I ever told your kids that.
Yeah.
But then I don't write it down, so I don't remember the next day what it was that I thought.
Where were you born?
In Forge Prairie, on the Galvin Road, about half a mile from the Forge Prairie School.
Were you born at home?
I have no idea.
You don't know
I don't
whether
even know who the doctor was now. I don't remember. It's on my birth certificate, though.
whether it was a doctor or a midwife.
No, I think there was a doctor that signed the thing anyway, the birth certificate.
And you were the last of 5 kids.
Yes.
You want to name your siblings?
There were 4 of us girls and Griff, my brother. Anna was the oldest, and
When was she born? Do you remember what year?
it's, I think 1903. I think it was either 2, 3, or 4. Me, I don't remember.
So Annie Ann was the oldest.
Yeah, and then Griff was 2 years younger than Ann, and then Bernice was, I would say, 5 or 6 or 7 years younger than Griff, because I think Griff was born in 1905 and Bernice was born in 1913 or 14, something like that. I don't remember. It's in the Bible. I think it's in both Bibles.
And then Vera.
And Vera, and Vera was 5 years older than I was.
And you were born
Then
in
I'm born 1919. So,
August 31st.
yeah, but my birth certificate says September the 1st.
Yeah, well, that's why you've always tried to celebrate your birthday 2 days.
Well, you certainly. Why not? Daddy always said it was August 31st. Always.
When you say daddy, you're talking about my dad.
No,
Or your-
my dad.
or your father.
My dad.
He said it was August 31st.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, so that's when
I
we
never knew it
celebrate.
until I got my birth certificate. That was on the birth certificate, September the 1st. Mama died on my birthday the next year, 1920, August 31st, 1920. I always thought it was funny. Yeah, Griff was born on Mama's birthday. I remember, reading that in the birth certificates. So.
And your mama died in childbirth, right? Or right
But
after?
she wasn't very far along. Yeah, they'd been to the beach. They used to go down there. There'd be 15 or 20, and I don't know how they went. I don't know, but they must have went in horse and buggy and stayed, because she got wet and caught cold, and I don't know whether that was the time Daddy said coming back, they'd eaten oysters, and the whole bunch of them got sick alongside the road. So I don't know, but she died blood poisoning, really,
Right.
Yeah.
From a miscarriage.
And Dr. Whistler, and my father had dentures, and I think Dr. Whistler must have made my father's dentures because he was a good friend. My daddy was good friends with a lot of people. Dr. Whistler and his wife didn't have any children at that time, and they wanted to adopt me. And Daddy was going to let them because 5 kids, and Daddy was still a young man and had to work, you couldn't get anything free. And Anna, see, the high school one of the high schools out of Forge Prairie, the old school that burned, that was a high school way back in the before I was ever born. And Anna said she'd stay home for 5 years and take care of the family if Daddy wouldn't give me up to Dr. Whistler. So that's what happened. Anna stayed for 5 years, and then we had a housekeeper, and her name was Nora Roundtree. And she was from the Riderwood or Adna area out in there. I don't know where, but out in there. But that was a long time ago, And I don't know, I barely remember Aunt Merle, Daddy's sister, would come up about once every summer. And I've always wondered, where do we all sleep? You know?
But you had a big house out on.
Yeah, uh-huh. But I remember, see, I don't remember Griff living at home at all. He went into the service when he was 16, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
16 or something. Well, I think it was about the time Mom died, right after that probably. I don't know what year he went in. And Daddy raised strawberries. He worked at the Galvin Mill until he worked for Mr. Bigham, though. Mr. Bigham Hall firewood. And in horse and buggies, I mean the big wagons, and us kids used to ride back to Galvin on the wagon or to town on the wagon with whoever was driving.
Wherever they
driving
were
the
going.
horses that day, you know, it was always fun. But as kids used to take the railroad tracks to Galvin too, because I had two aunts living at Galvin. Aunt Alice and
Now, Aunt Alice was
Timberley.
was that on your mama's side or your daddy's side?
Mama's side. Both of them were on Mama's side. And Alice was Alice Summers Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm.
And she was only 11 when my mama died.
Oh, so she was pretty close to your age.
Yes. Uh-huh. Well, no, she was married and had two kids because by
Yeah.
the time she'd moved there, I was probably 8, 10 years old, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And she was 11 years older than Ann, my sister
Oh,
Anna.
11 years older
Yes.
than Anna.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and Aunt Edith, her name was Aunt Edith Smiley, and there was, let me see, 2 girls and at least 2 boys. And 2 boys. Yeah, Art and Frank. Pearl died of TB very young. I remember them laying in the living room on those
Chase
things that had the hump at the end.
Chase Lounge.
And Edith remarried, I don't know when. And I assume Summers died, you know, because she remarried. And she married a Mr. Toby. He was old. But so much, I thought she was old too.
She's probably in her 30s.
Wanda and I tried to teach her. I never knew how to tap dance, but I could do one step. You know, Wanda could do 1 or 2. And we taught Annie to do that. It was fun going to Annie's. She was good to us kids. We spent a lot of time in Galvin. Yeah. We used to walk the tracks, and they had this old thing that moves on the tracks.
Right. What do they call those?
I can't remember.
Daddy'd know. Shanty cars? No.
No. I
The
don't
one
know.
kind you went up and down on.
You pushed it
Yeah.
back and forth, and it moved.
Right.
And we used to ride to Galvin in that.
Probably
Us
not
kids,
supposed
you
to.
know, just anything.
What was your daddy's full name?
Full name, Wesley Henry Reed. Wesley Henry.
Do you know what his father's name was?
It's in the Bible. I think it was William.
And your family was from Boone County, Kansas originally, right?
Well, my mother's family, my grandma on Mama's side were from Missouri, and they had slaves. And then after the Civil War, he fought in the Civil War, and he's buried in the National Cemetery in Kansas. And
Now this would be your mama's father?
and mother.
Okay, so it would
But
be...
her folks were
So your great... No,
my
it'd be your...
great grandparents on my mother's side. Because my grandparents, so would be my great grandparents.
Yeah, just one
That had
great...
slaves, but when the war was over, my grandma and grandpa moved to Kansas, and they moved to a part of Kansas were northern, and part of them were southern people, I guess.
Right.
But anyway, Wanda told me that they were people in the town. It was north of the town. Here's this southern soldier, and they were real upset about it.
Confederate.
Mm-hmm. They had one son, and I think it was 12 daughters. My mother was next to the youngest of the children.
Wow.
Yeah.
One son and 12 daughters?
Yes, and I didn't know this, but looking at one of the pictures, my grandpa has a very ragged-looking suit on, ragged. Carol and I noticed it, but I didn't have that picture, and I got it from Wanda and had a copy made.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Carol's got that picture. He was Irish, and maybe they just had so many kids, you know. They were, Wanda said they were always borrowing money from my mama's grandma,
Mm-hmm,
you know.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
From their parents.
uh-huh.
Well, 13 kids, that's a lot of children.
My grandma's name, maiden name, was America Huddleston. So I always thought maybe her family, maybe she was the first one born in the United States.
Mm-hmm,
Because
mm-hmm.
Huddleston, you know, America.
Yeah.
That makes you think, oh, they were, but her mother's name, it's in the Bible, I think it's Whitaker or something like that.
Your great-grandma.
Yeah. And when I was about, well, at the time of the Depression, about that time, I would think in 1929 or 1930 or something like that, every one of us kids got money from my grandma's estate. Well, I got to thinking a while back, and I'd gone out to Wanda's and my cousin, and I got to thinking, well, I thought that money come from my grandma and grandpa. It couldn't have had, because they were always borrowing Wanda's money from her family. So here you think of all the grandchildren. There was probably, yes, I'm sure there was great-grandchildren by then.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we still got, all of us got money. So I would estimate when you had 13 girls and one boy, or 12 girls and one boy, everybody had families back then. And you stop and think how many grandchildren it could have been that she left money to.
Lots.
She must have had a lot.
And this, you're saying that you think this money come from your grandma?
From my great-grandma.
From your great-grandma?
Yeah. It had to, Mickey. It's the one that says,
Do you remember how much it was?
I think I got something like around $40.
That was a lot of money in the
Oh, yeah.
20s.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of money. All of us thought it was, because see, all 5 of us kids.
Yeah,
then-
that's $200.
Yeah, and then Aunt Alice had 2 children, and Edith had 4, and she probably got some for herself too, 5.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it was divided, and Alice probably got,
Yeah, because she was
yeah, for
a
3.
direct descendant.
Yeah, And you think of all the rest of those kids that,
Well, I'm sure at 10 years old you thought that was a fortune.
well, Daddy thought it was too, because I give it to Dad. We put it in the bank, but Daddy used it.
Probably.
But
Yeah.
maybe we did, but we went to I can remember going to the bank with it, because I was just, so tickled. You know, I was so
A
proud.
fortune.
So maybe we just cashed it and Daddy took it, I don't know.
Probably
But I
bought
know it was
school
Depression
clothes or
time. So
food.
So there must have been property that she sold,
Right.
because they stayed in Missouri. And I think my grandpa's not my great-grandpa's, because I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandpa's name was, I forget. America was a, isn't this Thomas Hardin Summers.
Thomas Hardin Summers.
And I've looked, one of the states back there has Towns Hardin. I always wondered, I think it was in Missouri that I saw it on the map, and I always thought,
Yeah, that may have been where they were at,
yeah,
in that area.
yeah. So my grandma's family was Dutch, and my grandpa's family was Irish. And then I don't really know what Bonetta Smeltzer, Daddy always said was Dutch, but Aunt Merle always said it was not Dutch, it was German.
Now, Smeltzer, which
Smeltzer.
was
That
that
was
on
my
your dad's
daddy's.
side?
Mm-hmm.
That was your dad's mom.
Mm-hmm. Bonetta Smeltzer.
She was the big, tall one in the pictures.
Yes, the older lady.
Yes, but very, very
yes,
statuesque.
Mm-hmm. Never heavy or any, very
No,
dressed. But my mama, I understand from talking to people that knew her, a long time. My mother always dressed beautiful. She sewed